Every film nowadays has become a tentpole picture. There's no such thing as a proper B movie anymore. Don't get me wrong, shitty movies exist, but there's nothing quite like a good exploitation movie in cinemas nowadays. Everything is something you have to turn your brain on to watch. As much as I love going to some tiny art house cinema to watch an artsy indie movie that's 2.5, his films often feature constant violent depravity and gritty, dirty costuming. An obsession with Manson motifs and references, practical gore, never-ending nihilism, great soundtracks, and a propensity for accomplished B-movie actors can also be found. Films are also a mainstay of handheld cameras, and they have some of the funniest and most memorable dialogue in any American film. What I'm saying is that Rob Zombie could have directed Psycho, but Alfred Hitchcock could not have directed House of a Thousand Corpses. But zombie as an auteur is not the point of this video. I would like to preach the call of the zombie and tell you why his film, The Devil's Rejects, is what I would consider to be a perfect film. For a film to be a matter of perfection, it can't just be technically solid and tell a fun story. It has to have the intangibles that set it apart from the average mainstream releases. It has to ooze that X factor right from the celluloid. The best way to analyze why I would consider The Devil's Rejects a perfect film is because it knows what it is and what the audience has come to see, and it turns everything to 11. Furthermore, the signature shaky handheld camera used in the film is rather impressive. Instead of making a scene look like a generic shootout like in the Taken franchise, his films look more like Waco footage than anything else, giving the audience a voyeuristic car crash sensibility where you just can't look away. The best way to summarize why I believe this is a perfect film would be to look at the whirlwind opening. The film opens with a montage of the victims of the Fireflies, with voiceover explaining the plot until now. This part of the film is critical to understanding the film itself and why I love it so much, and why I call it perfect. In the first 10 minutes, we understand everything we need to know. We know why the cops are there, because of the montage. We know who's in the house and who isn't, which sets up the Deus Ex Machina with Tiny later, and with the first line from each character's mouth, we understand everything about them. Otis shows that he's a grouchy asshole, alongside that he's a monster by showing him next to a dead chick. We know Mama cares about her kid's well-being, setting up how she gets caught at the end of the opening. And towards the end of all of the action, we get the best opening title sequence of any film ever, with The Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers Band non-diegetically playing over the aftermath of the shootout. The best part about the opening is that we understand just how well organized the whole family is. Right out of the gate, we get that this film has a wickedly fast pace and balls-to-the-wall violence and gore. We understand that The Devil's Rejects is not just any other Saw or Hostel ripoff. It's an intelligent neo-western grindhouse Bonnie and Clyde motif that represents everything America has ever been, especially in the Bush years: senseless blood and violence. It's rare for a sequel to hold up to the original, even rarer for it to be better. But The Devil's Rejects is something completely different. Theoretically, you don't even have to watch the original to get the full experience out of this. Go out of your way to see it, if only for the wonderful ending with Freebird. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.